welcome. You're watching Biz First Review 360. I'm Jithendri Gunasenan. Let's now take a look at the very latest. So, who is the next central bank governor? That was the contentious issue that kept everyone in the business community guessing this week.
The appointment of the central bank governor has turned into a political contest, with both President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe giving contrasting signals over the next course of action. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe maintains that Arjuna Mahendran could not be removed from office without charges against him being proven. Premier Wickremesinghe's announcement followed a statement from President Sirisena that he will be appointing a governor in the next couple of hours. Governor Arjuna Mahendran's term ended yesterday, and he has said that he would not be seeking reappointment until the Parliamentary Oversight Committee of COPE completed its investigation into the controversial Treasury bond scam. Media reports said the Monetary Board of the Central Bank is expected to manage the institution until a new governor is appointed. The appointment of a new governor has become a highly contentious issue that has threatened the unity government run by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Sri Lanka's main business chamber is urging the government to maintain policy stability, good governance and transparency.
The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce says opportunities for a greater economic takeoff were slipping away due to delays and weak implementation.
Sri Lanka keeps getting a new lease of life every few years. At this moment, we have unprecedented support and goodwill from most of the countries of the world. But with all this support, we seem to be quick to fritter away opportunities due to weak implementation. The private sector is keen to partner with the government to get things done. Our globally competitive businesses have a lot to offer towards national economic development. But we need to have policy stability, good governance and transparency to enable good partnerships between the government and the business.
Ranatunga said the private sector was wary of uncertainty.
The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce represents the private sector that's increasingly anxious to get things done. We ask that government cultivates confidence in our commitment to work with them in implementing what's good for our country. We are in an era which offers us abundant opportunities to work together to make our nation a prosperous one in many a sense. We are blessed with an impressive blend of natural and human resources. It is our challenge to make good use of these in a manner that is sensible, prudent and sustainable. We expect enlightened policies and we expect results.
Ranatunga was re-elected as the chairperson of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce at the annual general meeting held this week.
Welcome back. You're watching Biz First Review 360. The World Bank has allocated $125 million credit from the International Development Association to assist Sri Lanka in modernizing its agriculture sector. Let's take a look.
The share of Sri Lanka's population employed in agriculture has remained at about 30% over the past 10 years. However, the share of the sector in national GDP has continued to decline to 10%. Credit from the World Bank's International Development Association is aimed at increasing rural incomes and promoting the development of a modern agriculture sector that meets the needs of an upper-middle income country that Sri Lanka aspires to be. The project will support agriculture value chain development to promote commercial and export-oriented agriculture with particular focus on high-value fruits and vegetables. It provides investments to improve productivity and diversification of current production patterns through modern agriculture technology demonstrations in the project areas, and supports new institutional arrangements in form of farmer organizations and farmer agribusiness partnerships.
Now, in other news, Cabinet has approved a feasibility study and the immediate commencement of a light rail transit system which will ease congestion in and out of Colombo.
A light rail transit system connecting Colombo Fort with Kolpiti, Bambalapitiya, Union Place, Maradana and Borella with Malabe has been given the green light by the Cabinet. The rail transit system is expected to ease traffic at access points to Colombo City. The Western Region Megapolis project has identified the improvement of public transport modes, development of road infrastructure, management of transport demand, and environmentally sustainable transportation is crucial in this regard. A proposal by Minister of Megapolis and Western Province Development, Partli Champika Ranavaka, to obtain the assistance of Japan International Cooperation Agency to conduct a feasible study and immediate commencement has been approved by the Cabinet.
How is Brexit affecting the rest of the world? Let's now take a look at some of the other business stories that made headlines overseas.
Asian stocks rose on Friday as risk appetite continued to recover from last week's Brexit shock, but the pound came under renewed pressure after the Bank of England's governor hinted at an interest rate cut ahead.
Remarks made by US Ambassador Atul Keshav on bilateral relations and opportunities. That's coming up right after the break.
As a result of the government of Sri Lanka's commitment to good governance, the Millennium Challenge Corporation of the United States government is evaluating Sri Lanka for a threshold program that can potentially unlock millions of dollars in additional assistance to facilitate economic reforms that can boost growth and create jobs. Our efforts to facilitate and strengthen Sri Lanka's economy have not been limited to financial assistance. So far this year, the United States has trained more than 50 business executives and government officials in best practices for the tourism and energy industry, two sectors with great promise for expansion. Another 100 plus officials from Sri Lanka Customs and other agencies have received training on World Trade Organization compliance and trade issues. We will also work with the government of Sri Lanka to boost expertise on public financial management. And we are bringing in local and foreign experts to lead workshops to promote entrepreneurship and build job skills to suit the needs of employers. Friends, I am amazed by the enormous economic potential rooted in this country's solid base of human and physical capital and its strategic position in a fast-growing and dynamic region. No matter where I go in Sri Lanka, whether it's Trincomalee, Jaffna, Hambantota, or in and around Colombo, I cannot help but wonder how very much more impressive this country will be when all Sri Lankans, regardless of ethnicity or socioeconomic background, can achieve their full potential. Can we imagine a future in which a young person in Sri Lanka can open a business, engage in entrepreneurial activity, hire and manage staff, expand operations, and become a success, all the while benefiting from a minimum of red tape and regulation and maximum support from transparent, helpful, and enabling government bureaucracy and institutions? As Sri Lanka looks toward building the infrastructure needed to bolster future economic growth, government and private sector may wish to consider the public-private partnership model as adopted by many of the world's leading economies. PPPs help overcome the lack of public funds needed to build infrastructure by mobilizing private sector finance and by helping improve project preparation, execution, and management. Friends, I also want to ask you how much prosperity would be achieved through a special economic zone in Hambantota or Trincomalee or anywhere else around the country. Allowing private enterprise to operate in such zones, freed from restrictive regulation, where the private sector can determine the best business opportunities, will generate much-needed FDI and jobs. Such SEZs could incorporate world-class competitive practices and regulations that would allow Sri Lankan and foreign companies to leverage this island's central location and human capital to create efficient enterprises which can compete on par with other countries around the South and Southeast Asian region. Government-owned enterprises can help by ensuring a level playing field that will allow the private sector to flourish and inject needed tax receipts into government coffers. The government's economic policy can facilitate the achievement of this vision by freeing the private sector to operate under efficient legal and regulatory regimes that match or exceed the policy environments of the most economically advanced countries across the Indo-Pacific region. Legitimate businesses will readily comply with easily understood and transparent government regulations. Attracting foreign direct investment will require Sri Lanka to overcome stiff regional competition. India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Cambodia, and others in the Indo-Pacific region are courting the very same investors. To win investment dollars, Sri Lanka can give itself a competitive edge by establishing clear and consistent policies in all areas of the economy. Clear, consistent policies are the cornerstone for creating an attractive investment for investors, both foreign and domestic. Policy clarity and consistency level the playing field, create transparency, and provide predictability. And these are things, ladies and gentlemen, that investors crave.
And that's all the news we have for you tonight. You can look us up on our Facebook page, Biz First Review 360. Enjoy the weekend and do join us again next Friday at the same time. I'm Jitendra Gunasena. Good night.